The Sunlit World 1914. Chapter 1. The Farmer's Son Jalandhar, Punjab, April 1914. The dust of the Punjab road tasted like home. Kartar Singh watched it rise in golden clouds behind the bullock cart, each particle catching the morning sun like tiny promises. At 23, he knew every rhythm of this land, the creak of the irrigation well, the smell of mustard fields after rain. The sound of his father's voice calling across acres that had been in their family for 3 generations. "Your mind is elsewhere," said his father, Mohkan Singh, without turning from the plough. His hands, leathery as old saddles, guided the wooden implement through soil that would soon yield wheat. "I was thinking of the school," Kartar admitted. He pulled the English primer from his waistband. Macmillan's Reader Standard for. The book was worn at the corners. Filled with his own notes in the margins, translations from English to Punjabi, questions about grammar, books. His father spat the word like a bitter seed. Books don't fill bellies. Landeurs. Your grandfather's grandfather fought for this land with sword and blood. Now you want to fight with chalk and words. It's a different world, Pataji. Is it? His father stopped, wiping sweat with his turban's end. The English still rule. They still take our grain. They still demand taxes. Only now they want our sons too. The recruitment poster in town had been simple. Bold letters in Urdu and English. Join the glorious Indian Army. Serve king and country. 11 rupees monthly pay. 11 rupees. More than his father made in 2 months after the moneylender's share. Enough to buy back the southern field they'd lost last drought season. Enough for his sister Sita's dowry. Enough to make his mother's ghost rest easier, knowing her children were secure. Tat evening, Kartar Binnen. 6 boys, 2 girls, their faces earnest in the fading light. Today, he said, we learn about distance. He drew a map in the dirt. This is Jalandhar. Here, the Bees River. Here, Delhi, his stick moved westward. And here, this is France. Where is France, Master G? Asked little Govind. Across to seas and a great desert. So far that if you shouted, the echo would take months to return. Why would anyone go there? Kartar looked at his own drawing. Sometimes. The world calls you. Sometimes you must go far to protect what is near. Later, at home, his sister Sita pressed something cold into his palm. Her silver bangle, the one their mother gave her on her 12th birthday. "Take it," she whispered. "So you remember there's something shiny in the world, not just mud and guns. You keep it. I'll be back before the monsoon ends. You don't know that. I made a promise to mother before she don't." Sita's eyes filled. "Don't say it. Just take the bangle and come home." That night, Kartar packed. 2 newly stitched uniforms, rough khaki, smelling of unfamiliar soap. 1 pair of boots stiff as wood. A wooden comb, his father's, worn smooth. A kirpan, the ceremonial dagger, smaller than regulation, allowed a brass bowl, a tin cup. The pocket Gutka Sahib tiny Gurmukhi script, Sita's silver bangle. A fading photo of his parents on their wedding day. Mustard seeds from their best crop. The embroidered handkerchief with Ik Onka. Macmillan's Reader, standard for unlisted, hidden beneath the rest. As he slept, the wind carried the sound of train whistles from distant tracks, a sound like loneliness, like leaving. Chapter 2. The Piano Teacher, London, England, May 1914. Evelyn Ashford's world was measured in beats per minute. 64 adagio moderato, 200 for presto. Life, she believed, should be conducted at a comfortable andante walking pace, neither rushed nor sluggish. Count aloud, Timothy, one and dash to dash and a dot dot. The boy's fingers stumbled over the thirds. It's no use, Miss Ashford. My hands won't obey. They will. They're learning a new language. Be patient with them. Through the bay window of her Bloomsbury flat, London unfolded, in civilized layers, neat rows of houses, orderly traffic. The distant, green haze of Regent's Park, a world engineered for predictability. Her brother Robert burst in just as Timothy hit a correct chord progression. Evia, you'll never guess. Robert, I'm teaching. Sorry, Timothy. Robert's face glowed with the news. I've been commissioned. Second Lieutenant, Royal Fusilier Captain. Evelyn's hand went still on the piano lid. When? Training starts next week. Then, France by August. He struck a heroic pose. To Berlin by Christmas. Personally, if I must. After Timothy left, Evelyn watched Robert pore over maps spread across her piano bench. His finger traced lines through Belgium. Here's where we'll stop them, Evia, right here. The Germans won't know what hit them. You sound like a schoolboy playing soldiers. It is soldiers, real ones. He caught her expression. Don't look like that. It'll be over quickly. Kitchener says, since when do you listen to politicians? To be more than father's disappointing second son. There, father's portrait above the mantel seemed to frown at the mention. Sir Reginald Ashford, permanently unimpressed, even in oils. That night, Evelyn attended the season's last garden party at the Hamptons. Lanterns swung in the summer breeze. A string quartet played Strauss. Women in pale dresses laughed behind gloved hands. The war talk was fashionable, exciting. My Arthur says it will be a splendid little war, gushed Lady Hampton. Over by autumn. Good for the economy, you know. Evelyn watched Robert holding court by the punch bowl, resplendent in his new uniform. Her fingers itched for the piano, for something true amidst the glittering falsehoods. Miss Ashford. A woman in a red cross armband approached. I understand you're seeking meaningful war work. I hadn't considered ... The voluntary aid detachment needs nurses. Training provided. We deploy to France in October. But Robert says, your brother is a soldier. He believes what soldiers must. The woman's eyes were old in a young face. I've seen war. It doesn't end by Christmas. Evelyn looked across the garden at Robert, now dancing with some debutante, his face alight with invincible youth. The metrallegro to largo. Slow or heavy? I'll join, she said. Chapter 3, The Vineyard Keeper, Amiens, France, June 1914. Henri Dubois spoke to his grapes in 3 languages, French for daily matters, Latin for the soil's secrets, and a wordless humming for the vines themselves. 58 harvests had taught him that grapes understood music better than words. See this one, Pierre, he said to his son. The Pinot Noir, shy, doesn't like too much sun. Like your mother, when I first courted her, Pierre, 22 and restless, rolled his eyes. Papa, it's a grape. It's a soul. Everything that grows has a soul. Henry clipped a stray shoot. This vineyard remembers my father, his father, his father's father. It remembers every summer's sun every winter's frost. Taste the 1910 vintage. You can still taste the April rain that nearly ruined us. But I don't want to taste rain, Papa. I want to make something new. In Paris, they're building machines that fly, motors that run without horses, and we're here, talking to plants. Henri's wife, Marie, emerged from the stone farmhouse with their lunch bread, cheese, last autumn's preserved tomatoes. At 54, her hands were still elegant, capable of both kneading dough and arranging flowers for Sunday Mass. "Leave your father be," she said, but her eyes smiled at Pierre's impatience. She understood both men, the one rooted like the ancient oak, the other yearning like spring wind. That afternoon, the village priest came cycling up the dusty path, his robes hitched awkwardly. "Henri, the mobilization papers are posted at the town hall." Pierre stood so quickly he knocked over his pruning shears. "Already." "The Germans have crossed into Belgium," the priest said, breathing heavily. "We are at war." The words hung between the vine rows. Henri watched a ladybug traverse a grape leaf, unaware of empires clashing. "But my exemption," double quotes Henri began. "I'm over age." "And the vineyard?" "Pierre must go," Marie said quietly. Her hands didn't tremble as she packed extra bread into a cloth. "The vineyard can wait. France cannot." Pierre's face transformed fear, pride, then a terrible excitement. "I'll show those botches what a Picardy man can do." Henri remembered his own father's stories of 1870, the Prussian artillery, the siege of Paris, the taste of rat when the bread ran out. History, he realized, was a wheel that kept returning to the same muddy ruts. They walked Pierre to the station the next morning. The entire village seemed to be their boys in ill-fitting uniforms, mothers with tidy smile, fathers gripping sons' shoulders like they could anchor them to earth through sheer will. Pierre kissed Marie's cheeks. "I'll be home for harvest. Momeng, you'd better be. The grapes won't wait." Henri pressed two things into his son's hands, a small bottle of their best 1911 vintage, and the St. Christopher medal his own father had carried. "Don't be brave," Henri whispered. "Be careful. Bravery gets you medals. Carefulness gets you home." The train whistle screamed, a sound Henri would hear in nightmares for years. As the train disappeared, Marie's hand found his. They stood watching the empty tracks as the sun climbed over vineyards that suddenly looked fragile, temporary. That night, Henri walked the rows alone. The grapes were beginning to turn hard green, beads softening toward purple. He touched a cluster, calculating harvest in 10 weeks. Surely this madness would end before then? From the north, a distant rumble, not thunder. Something manufactured, mechanical. The ladybug had fled. The vineyard held its breath. Chapter 4. The Crossing. Kartar's journey, Bombay to Marseille, August 1914. The ship SS Elephanta smelled of engine oil, sweat, and the peculiar salt bleach smell of things meant to endure water. Carter stood at the railing with Bouvan, a Muslim sepoy from Peshawar who had become his friend during training. The tent hospital appeared, through rain, endless rows of white canvas, red crosses already stained with mud. From within came sounds that would haunt Evelyn's dreams, moans, screams, the terrible silence after morphine took effect. Her first patient was a boy of maybe 17, shivering, though wrapped in blankets. A chest wound. His breathing bubbled pink. Name, soldier? She asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Where are you from? Jimmy, Manchester. His eyes focused somewhere beyond the tent roof. Will you write my mum? Tell her I didn't cry. You'll tell her yourself. But his hand went limp in hers 15 minutes later. Evelyn closed his eyes, marked his tag, moved to the next cot. The metronome in her mind had stopped. Marie's wedding ring, which she'd sewn into her hem. There, cart-pulled by their old mare, Belle carried also to neighbour children, whose parents had stayed to fight. Papa, Marie said as they passed a burning farmhouse, our grapes. The roots are deep, they'll survive, but he didn't believe it. He'd seen the artillery flashes on the northern horizon. Vines that had survived 100 winters wouldn't survive that. In Paris, they sheltered with Marie's cousin, a baker, whose ovens were cold for lack of flour. The city felt like a waiting room tense, hushed, expecting bad news. Henri stood on the Pont Neuf, watching military barges move up the Seine, boys in uniforms, men with faces already old. A soldier on crutches shared his cigarette. You from the north, Amiens, vineyards, beautiful country. I passed through last week, or what's left of it. Henri's heart clenched. The Dubois vineyard, near the ridge. The soldier's eyes clouded. MONSIEUR the ridge is the front line now. There's nothing there but shell holes and barbed wire. That night, Henri opened the 1911 vintage. He poured for glasses for himself, Marie, and 2 for the ghosts of what was lost. To roots, he said. However deep, we must bury them to survive. Chapter 5. The First Snow Neuve Chapelle, November 1914. Kartar's first winter in France was a betrayal. The cold here had teeth wet, creeping cold that sank through wool, through skin, into bone. Punjab's winter was a crisp friend, bringing relief from heat. This was an enemy. The trenches were nightmares made earth. Knee-deep mud that sucked at boots, rats fat as kittens. The constant smell-rotting sandbags, latrines, cordite, and the sweet metallic scent of blood, not quite washed from uniforms. Bouvon shared his blanket that first freezing night. My uncle fought on the northwest frontier, Bouvon whispered. He said mountains are cold but honest. Tis mured. Italy. It pretends to be solid, then swallows you. Kartar's job was to repair barbed wire after shelling. No man's land stretched before him, a shattered world of craters, broken trees, and things that used to be men. Once, he found a photograph floating in a puddle, a German family, smiling on some sunny day. He slipped it into his pocket. Someone should remember they smiled. Lieutenant Thompson found him studying the photo. They look like decent people. They do, sir. Does that make it harder? Yes, sir. And easier. Thompson nodded. He'd lost his brother at Ypres. The grief was a fresh wound. Still, on November 23rd, the Germans shelled their position for 12 hours. The world became noise and shaking earth. Kartar priait, his lips moving through Sikh prayers, Muslim prayers Bhuvan had taught him. Even the Lord's Prayer he'd heard from British soldiers covering all heavens, just in case. When the barrage lifted, Bhuvan was gone. Not dead missing, a direct hit on his section of trench. Carter dug with his hands until his nails bled. He found Bhuvan's prayer rug, torn but recognizable. He found his friend's water flask, dented. He did not find Bhuvan. That night, Carter wrote a letter to Bhuvan's widow in Peshawar. He lied. He said Bhuvan died quickly, thinking of her. He said his last words were Allah is merciful. He did not say he might be buried in mud or blown into pieces too small to identify. He sealed the letter with the last of his wax. The mustard seeds in his pocket had sprouted in the damp, tiny green shoots in the darkness. Life insisting. Casualty clearing, station no. 12 December 1914. Evelyn's hands had learned new skills, how to tie a tourniquet one-handed, how to recognize the gasp of a pneumothorax, how to whisper she in a way that sometimes calmed men who'd seen hell. She also learned the mathematics of war. 3 pints of blood lost equals pale skin. 5 pints equals confusion. 7 pints equals the particular stillness of empty vessels. Matron caught her crying after a bad night, 18 deaths, 37 amputations. Tears are a luxury, Nurse Ashford. Save them for after. After what? After everything. Matron's stern face softened. I cried for a year after the Boer War. Then I stopped. Not because I healed, because I ran out. Evelyn began writing letters for soldiers. Their dictated words were all variations on themes. I'm fine. Don't worry. The food is good. I'll be home soon. Love papering over horror. One boy he couldn't be more than 19 asked her to write to his sweetheart. Tell her I'm not afraid, and that I still have the ribbon she gave me. His legs were gone below the knees. The ribbon was in his tunic pocket, blood-stained but carefully folded. What color was it? Evelyn asked gently. Blue, like her eyes. He paused. Actually, her eyes are green, but blue was all the shop had. Evelyn wrote the lie. She wrote many lies. They were the only medicine she had for those beyond morphine's reach. She also wrote to Robert every week. No replies came. The War Office list of missing grew longer each day. She checked it with ritual dread every Monday. Paris, refugee shelter. December 1914, Henri found work in a factory making artillery shells. The irony wasn't lost on him, he who grew life, now assembled death. The work was monotonous, deafening, but it let him buy bread. Marie volunteered at the refugee kitchen, ladling thin soup to people whose eyes held the hollow look of the displaced. At night, they listened to the distant thunder of the front. 70 miles away, a day's walk, an eternity. Marie developed a cough that worried Henri. The damp shelter, the pourfoudit was grinding her down. We should go south, he urged, to your sister in Toulouse, and leave Pierre's memory here. He's not here, Marie. He's wherever his bones are. She slapped him once, sharp across the cheek, then collapsed into his arms, sobbing. Don't say that. Don't ever say that. He held her as the cough racked her thin body. He remembered their wedding day her in a simple dress, grapes woven into her hair. The vineyard had given them a perfect harvest that year. The wine had tasted like hope. Now he tasted only dust and regret. He began a project in secret. In the factory's scrap pile, he found a piece of copper shell casing. During lunch breaks, he worked it with small tools, shaping, polishing. Marie's birthday was December 20th. He gave her the finished piece of grape cluster, carved in meticulous detail, small enough to fit in her palm. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "So you remember what we'll rebuild." Her cough subsided that night. For a few hours, she slept peacefully. Henri watched her. This woman, who had been his son for 35 years, and made a promise to the God he was unsure he believed in anymore. Let her see her vines again. Take me instead. Chapter 6. The Christmas Truce. December 24th, 1914. The front lines. The cold had intensified, a crisp freeze that made the mud hard as brick and turned breath to crystal clouds. Strange, thin silence. The guns had slowed, then stopped. An eerie quiet settled over no man's land. Carter stood sentry duty, Sita's bangle cold against his wrist beneath layers of wool. The German trench was 100 yards away. He could see their Christmas tree small firs decorated with candles that flickered like earthbound stars. A voice floated across, still NACHT ... Then another voice, British, Silent Night. Soon, both sides were singing the same carol into languages. The notes met in the middle, in the frozen space where death usually lived. Lieutenant Thompson appeared beside Carter. Extraordinary. What are they doing, sir? Remembering their men. Thompson took a deep breath. I'm going over. Sir, come with me. You speak some French. They might. Carter followed, his heart pounding. They climbed from the trench, hands raised. From the German side, two figures emerged. The German officer was young, blonde, with wire-rimmed glasses. Frohe Weihnachten, he said in Christmas. The other German was older, a sergeant with a thick mustache. He held a bottle, schnapps, for sharing. They met at a shattered farmhouse wall. The German Lieutenant Schmidt produced Fargweisan. Thompson showed his own photo. Mi fiancée. Carter had no photo to share. Instead, he showed Sita's bangle. My sister, she said to remember there's something shiny. Schmidt smiled. My sister gave me a handkerchief. Et produit dit in Betrovice. They shared the schnapps. The liquor burned a path through the cold. Then Carter remembered the chapati in his pocket, saved from yesterday's meal. He broke it, shared it. The German sergeant tasted it. What is this? Bread from my home. It's good. More soldiers emerged from both sides. Soon, 50 men stood in no man's land, exchanging cigarettes, chocolate, family photos. Someone produced a football. The match was absurd, glorious. Men who hours before had tried to kill each other now slipped on frozen mud, laughed. Argued over offsides rules that no one fully remembered. The Germans won 3-2. The British demanded a rematch after New Year's. Carter found himself talking with a German soldier named Karl, who showed him a picture of his mother's bakery in Munich. She makes the best Schwarzbrot, Karl said proudly. Then his face fell, or she did. If there's still flour. My father grows wheat Kartar said, or he did. They stood in silence, two farmers' sons far from fields. "Will we shoot at each other tomorrow?" Karl asked. Kartar looked at the bangle on his wrist. "Probably. That's madness. Yes." They shook hands. Karl gave Kartar a button from his uniform. "So you remember, not all Germans are monsters." Kartar gave Karl one of his mustard seed sprouts in its tiny tin. "So you remember things still grow." As dusk fell, they returned to their trenches. The last thing Kartar saw was Schmidt and Thompson shaking hands, both men's faces wet with tears they'd never admit to. That night, the guns stayed silent. Stars emerged, the same stars that shone over Punjab, over Munich, over London. For one night, the world remembered it was one world. December 6, 1912. Evelyn worked Christmas Day. They'd hung holly in the operating tent. Someone had found a pitiful tree. It looked absurd beside the surgical tables. The truce meant fewer casualties. Only 17 came in all-day frostbite, pneumonia, a training accident. Matron allowed a short service. A chaplain read the Christmas story. Evelyn listened to Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men, and looked at the rows of broken bodies. The words felt like a cruel joke, then a miracle. An ambulance brought in a familiar figure, mud-caked, thinner but unmistakable. Robert? Her brother's eyes focused slowly. "Evia, that you?" He had a shoulder wound, infected but not fatal, feverish but alive. She washed him, changed his dressing, fed him broth. His hands trembled. "It's not. It's not what they said. Evia, the Germans, ... They're not monsters. Yesterday, ... We played football. I heard. One of them gave me his mittens. Mine were soaked." Robert's eyes filled. "Tomorrow I might have to kill him." "Chete, reste." "He had a sister about your age." He showed me her picture. Evelyn held her brother as he shook with tears he'd been saving for months. The heroic boy was gone. In his place was a man who knew the cost of things. Later, she wrote to their father, "Robert is safe with me. He's changed. We all have. Please send wool socks and his violin if you can. He says music might help him remember beauty." She didn't mention her own changes, how she could now distinguish between arterial and venous blood by sound. How sleep was a country she no longer visited. Paris, December 25, 1914. Henri and Marie attended midnight Mass at Notre Dame. The great cathedral was packed with refugees. Soldiers, the lost and seeking. The priest spoke of the Prince of Peace. Henri looked at the faces around him pinched with hunger. Shadowed with fear and wondered what peace could possibly mean now. After Mass, they walked along the Seine. The river flowed black under a sliver of moon. "I want to go back," Marie said suddenly, "to Amiens. It's behind German lines, not to our house. To France. The real France, not this waiting room." Henri understood. Paris was life on hold, but the Vineyard. Destroyed Etoile at night. They would return in spring, rebuild or die trying. At their shelter, a surprise awaited, a Red Cross parcel addressed to Marie. Inside, a letter from Pierre's commanding officer, and Pierre's notebook. The letter was formal, kind. "Your son died bravely at the Marne. He spoke often of your vineyard. He said he wanted to make wine that would make you proud." Marie's hands shook as she opened the notebook. Sketches of grapevines, notes on soil pH, a pressed violet, and on the last page, in hurried pencil, if found. Please return to Henri Dubois, Vineyard Dubois, near Amiens. Tell my parents I wasn't afraid. Tell them I'll miss the harvest. Henri read the words again and again. The I'll miss the harvest undid him. Not I'll miss you, but the harvest, the family ritual, the continuity, the thing that outlived individuals. He went to the shelter's small courtyard. The copper grape cluster was in his pocket. He held it to the moonlight, then buried it at the base of a barren winter rose bush. A promise to return, a memorial that could travel, and so ends part 1 of In Sunshine and Shadow. Kartar, Evelyn, and Henri have taken their first steps into the storm that will define their generation, but their journey has only begun. In part 2, coming next, Kartar faces his greatest test at the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. Evelyn receives news that will change everything. Henri returns to his vineyard, to find it transformed into a battlefield. And the Christmas Truce gives way to the long. Peter Winter of Tinmifte, the next chapter of this unforgettable saga. The war is just beginning, and so are their stories. Subscribe to Funny Fun Audiobook Gala and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Like this video if you're invested in these characters already. Comment below which character's journey speaks to you most. Kartar, Evelyn, or Henri? Share this audiobook with friends who love historical fiction, emotional stories, or just great storytelling. Remember, history isn't just about dates and battles. It's about people, people like you, people like them. Until next time, keep listening, keep feeling, keep remembering. This has been Funny Fun Audio Book Gala, where stories come to life.